Happy Tuesday. I'm usually not on here, but I wanted to hop on here because you guys have been keeping up with the FTX and Alameda information. That's basically the crypto guy. He was arrested in the Bahamas today on fraud charges. So I'm coming on here because there's a lot to unpack here. He's gotten his parents involved in it. A lot of people have lost millions of dollars. It's a lot going on. So I wanted to share the screen with you because those of you who are not aware of what's happening or just hopping in what's going on, there's a lot of money, billions of dollars on the line. There's been a lot of co-mingling of funds. And if you're familiar with that, when you don't mix funds with other companies to invest in other things, especially when you're using customer funds. So I'm going to go all into it, but I'm going to show you what he said. Sam Bankman-Fried said not too long ago, and I had been following him, and I was going to hop on here and do a live, and then he got arrested. So anyway, let me share my screen with you so that you can see what he said. A couple of weeks ago, he was really talking a little bit too much against his attorney's wishes, and, it came to fruition. So let me share with you what he just said. And he was at a Deal Book Summit, a conference, and he was appearing there virtually from the Bahamas, and was like, look, I screwed up, which is the understatement of the century. In the month of November, he lost billions of dollars in 1 month. So he said his lawyers did not want him to talk, but he answered questions at the Deal Book Summit, which probably will come back to haunt him now that he's been arrested on criminal charges. So let's play it real quick, and then we'll kind of dissect what's happening, how his parents played into it, because what happens when you're involved in your son's, and they're lawyers too, when you're involved in your son's collapse of billion-dollar industry, what happens to you? So let's play it real quick, and then we'll jump into it. Okay, so as you can see, the people at that conference was like, sir, you've had a bad month. What? And okay, so my initial reaction was he did seem like he was, I guess, at least a little bit apologetic. He also seemed like he had some kind of social awkwardness and may not really know what's going on in the bigger picture. Like he really was underestimating what was on the line. It was so much money. Like when you have so much money involved in your company, he had FTX and Alameda. These are crypto companies, which are unregulated right now, industries. You have so much money involved. People lost so much money. Sir, you don't think that criminal is going to come up at any point? And you talking away at conferences like nobody's going to come in. So fast forward to today, he got arrested in Bahamas. United States like, you got some questions to answer. His parents are also there. And how his parents play into it is, okay, so FTX basically purchased a lot of houses in Bahamas. They were trying to get their employees to move to Bahamas to have headquarters there. So they were buying up a lot of real estate. With what money? I don't know. It was probably commingled funds. Buying up a lot of real estate. One of the houses there that they bought up is a $16 million house that his parents are signatories on. Sir, ma'am and sir, got involved with it. They said later, like, oh, we're trying to get it deeded back to FTX. Too late. You got yourself entangled in a mess right now. And as lawyers, they're actually lawyers at Stanford University, law professors. You should have known better than to get yourself tied up in this. They basically were there for the rise of FTX. They were doing really well. This is a young guy. He's 30 years old. But they about to be there for the downfall of FTX too, right? Because when you have $16 million homes in your name and they're not making bank at Stanford. So you have a lot to answer for as far as how you were able to purchase that home and how FTX was purchasing all these homes. They originally said they were buying it up so that they can have it for their employees, but where are you getting the money for it from, right? Because there was a lot of using FTX's money at Alameda to do investments and other venture capital things. Where you can't mix money up, and then when the customer wants to have their money back, what are you going to tell them? Crypto, I haven't gotten into crypto. There's a lot of money to be made in crypto, right? But it's also unregulated industry. Unlike the stock industry, which is regulated by the government, crypto is kind of like we're doing our own thing, which can be a good thing, right? Because sometimes people don't want big brother, the government on their back about things. But in some ways, it protects the consumers. And I'm all about consumer protection, right? So if you have somebody regulating somebody overlooking things, you're more likely, not to say it doesn't happen, but you're more likely to have less fraud happen. Here in the crypto industry, nobody's regulated. Everybody's just running amok. You're making a lot of money, but if something happens, it's hard to kind of figure out what happened because nobody has been having some check marks on it. So that's what happened with Bankman-Fried. So his parents are involved. Now they're saying, like, we basically are in financial ruin trying to help him get out of this mess he got into. And it kind of begs the question, like, if you're a parent, like, how much would you go through when you know your child is getting into some stuff, right? Like, how far will you take it? Granted, I'm sure you love your children, but how far are you going to let them take things? So, but I want to hop on here. So I'm going to share something. Let me see. Check in in the chat if you're here online and let me know what you think about it. Hey, Debt-Free Dad. Hey, Marcus. Good morning. No sound on our end. Just recap what was said. Oh, no. Okay. No sound on our end. Just recap what was said, please, and add the link to the description. Okay. Thanks for the heads up, Marcus. Mom and Dad knew what the deal was. I don't know what happened. Anyway, so if you guys didn't hear what was said when he was at the conference, he's basically saying he had a bad month. He's trying to keep the customers at the forefront. He wasn't thinking that criminal charges was going to be pressing issue right now. He was just worried about the customers. That's what he basically said in his minute summarization at the conference, right? So he was wrong. He couldn't have been any more wrong, which is why his lawyers probably said, don't talk, stop talking. What are you doing? Because there were a lot of people interested in what was going on with FTX and Alameda, right? Anybody here invested in FTX and Alameda? Because I personally, like I said, I haven't gotten into the crypto world. I'm in the stock investing world, but I'm not in crypto. Anybody got into it and maybe got out before all this happened? Because this happened as of last month, November 2022, literally last month. What raised the red flag is because FTX or Alameda, one of them filed for bankruptcy because it was, they lost a lot of money. And they was like, wait, how you file for bankruptcy? You got a lot of this money on the line, billions of dollars on the line. You have a lot of real estate. Like, how are you filing for bankruptcy? So that's how his parents' interest in this real estate, this $16 million house in Bahamas, kind of raised the flag as well. So what do you guys think about it? Debt-Free Dad, who's also an attorney, he has another channel on YouTube, so check him out as well. He does lawyer reactions and also personal finance, so he's kind of familiar with the finance world as well. What do you think about it? He seems to think that mom and dad knew what the deal was, and I would like to think that as lawyers they had some kind of inkling. Like, they're not dumb. Not to say that people who are not lawyers are, but just the fact that you have, I think, a heightened awareness when you come to evaluating things when you're a lawyer. You view things a different way than the average person would, right? So looking at what was going on, his parents probably had an idea, like, this doesn't seem above board, but this is $16 million real estate. I'm with it. So now at Stanford, they're not on the roster for next semester for teaching any classes. They're basically in the Bahamas to try to support their son. They may have to use all their savings, their salary to help defend him because he's basically saying he don't have any money. Sir, where did all the money go? What were you doing with it? And liquidating some of these assets that you acquired in FTX or Alameda's name may be part of what was going to happen as far as, no, you can't file bankruptcy. Bankruptcy means that, you don't have anything and you're, destitute. Like, you're at that point, you're not. Like, you have millions of dollars billions of dollars potentially worth of real estate in another country, and you think you're just going to shirk the customer that has put money into your business? No. So I think what happens a lot of times, the younger people, he's 30 years old. So I'm not making any excuses for him, but sometimes they're not aware. They like, this is a good idea in theory, But as far as making sure that you're checking all the legal boxes and make sure that something like this doesn't happen. The fact that he's like, I had a bad month, that's underestimating a lot of things. And yes, you screwed up. So yes, you're gonna have to pay for things. And yes, perhaps jail time is in the works, but it doesn't basically restore the people that invested in you to their former status, right? They probably have lost a lot of money that they're never going to see again. There's celebrities that have invested in FTX. Granted, they have less on the line than the average person does, but nonetheless, they've invested in these things. I want to say Shaquille O'Neal was he said that he had investments in FTX as well, but him losing $1 million in FTX is equivalent to us losing $100 in the grand scheme of things. So I think that, yes, a lot of people have lost money, celebrities and average person alike, but we got to see what's going to end up happening. I think also his attorney parents may have to answer some certain things as well, because when you are involved in fraud, unknowingly or knowingly, there are going to be some things to answer for as well. So let's see what you got to say, Marcus. I think the parents may have even more exposure. You don't think that they were giving their waterhead son advice or guidance as to how to make moves, conspiracy for the parents? Perhaps you're right, Marcus. I think so. Like, it goes deep. So we'll see. This has just happened. So this, like I said, this unfolded within the last month. And so this is just a tip of the iceberg as far as what's going to happen. It reminds me of that. What was the guy that it was in New York where he basically was defrauding a whole bunch of people? He ended up committing suicide later after he got convicted. But his whole finance structure collapsed. People lost money. People were like jumping off bridges and stuff as far as money, the amount of money they lost. What was his name? Anyway, I'll look it up later. But it reminds me of that. But he was older and he definitely knew what he was doing. Whereas Bankman-Fried, I think he was young and just thought, he's like, yeah, I can find a way to, to avoid certain consequences, but now he has to answer to it. So this is, like I said, this is just unfolding. I wanted to hop on here before it got too, busy in the day, but it'll be interesting. We'll probably follow more of it. I want you to comment in the comment section. Let me know what you think about it. If you're new to the channel, consider subscribing to the channel and give this video a thumbs up so it can push it out to the YouTube algorithm. Thanks, Marcus, for hopping on the chat and commenting today. And we will see you in the next video. We'll see what happens in the next few months with this particular case. But unregulated crypto, Bankman-Fried arrested in the Bahamas today. All right. Thanks, guys, for tuning in. And we'll see you in the next video.